Okay, welcome back. Last time we spoke about observing Jesus. This is the series that we are going to look for the next couple of sessions. And last time I spoke about observing Jesus. First part is Jesus and spiritual disciplines. And today I'm going to talk about the second discipline called Jesus and the sinners. Jesus and the sinners. I want to observe Jesus from far. How Jesus moves into community, how does Jesus wake up, and what all he does and what all things he does in the daytime. I really want to observe Jesus, and today I want to talk about a small observation that how does Jesus and the sinners go together, or what is that we can learn from Jesus with sinners. You need to understand, when Jesus was living in a world where a lot of sinners were there, like today we too have a lot of sinners who do a lot of evil things all around us. Even in Jesus times, a lot of people were doing bad. But one thing during Jesus time was, there are a group of people, Pharisees and Sadducees and many other scribes, they hated sinners. In fact, they did not want anything to do with sinners. They would definitely just chase the sinners out rather, or they would not even interact with sinners. They would not even go to their houses. They would not have anything to do with sinners. And Jesus, those times, too, was living a holy life, but he led a different life altogether. Just observing Jesus from far, he is acting weird. Sorry for this word. He's acting weird, but there is something great truth that we can learn for. Jesus is acting little different than these Pharisees. Now let me just give a small example. In Luke chapter 19, Jesus is going, and then there is this guy, short guy called Zacchaeus. He is a tax collector. By the way, tax collectors were sinners, were called as sinners during Jesus' time. Jesus stops and he talks with this tax collector, and he goes to his house and says, Zacchaeus, I want to stay in this house. People were shocked. People were shocked for two reasons. He is talking with Zacchaeus, the tax collector, the sinner. The second one is, he has gone to his house. Observing Jesus and sinners, this is the thing I want to say. Jesus was very friendly with sinners. Jesus was very friendly with the sinners. In fact, Jesus had a disciple called Matthew, who happens to be a tax collector. Tax collector, the tag name is sinners, don't associate with them. But Jesus had a tax collector called Matthew as his disciple. And here we see in Luke chapter 8, Jesus tells a story about a Pharisee going into a temple and praying, and a tax collector at the back, he's praying. And Jesus appreciates the prayer of a tax collector, and he rejects the prayer of this called a Pharisee, supposed to be a holy man. But Jesus appreciates the tax collector. Now this would be very, very big mistake on Jesus during those times. But Jesus was very bold. In fact, he did not even think twice when people started giving a title for Jesus. What was the title that they gave? He is friend of sinners. Luke chapter 7, all the people around were very uncomfortable with Jesus. They gave a title to Jesus saying that Jesus, the tax collector's friend, or friend of sinners. Jesus was okay with that. Now, observing Jesus, the way he moves with people, just look at this. He is God of Abraham, God of Isaac, and God of Jacob. That is what people ascribed to God. But here in New Testament, there's a small title called Jesus, friend of sinners. I don't know about you, but I love this title very much. You know why? Because of being Jesus, a friend of sinner, he came to me. Once upon a time, I was a sinner, and Jesus came and he changed my life. So we see Jesus spending time with sinners, tax collectors, and people who have done a lot of bad things. Jesus is talking to them, and when they ask him, Jesus, I want you to come to my house, Jesus is willing to go to their house. Wow. Observing Jesus, I get the shocking truth saying that Jesus is interacting with sinners. Jesus is staying with sinners. Jesus is going to sinners' house, and he is having fellowship with them. I don't know about you. Some people don't like that. Some people don't want anything to do with sinners. No, 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 we are very nice people, we are holy people, we should not be interacting with you. They smell bad, they have done bad things, and people want to disassociate from sinners. But Jesus is not that. Observing Jesus, the second part is Jesus and sinners. How do they correlate? Jesus is making friends with sinners. He loves the sinners very much. In fact, his name is called Jesus. Matthew chapter 1 verse 21, if you see, his name shall be called Jesus. You know, for what reason? For he shall save his people from their sins. In other words, Jesus came to save sinners. So if Jesus had to save people from their sins, he had to go to their house, he had to be their friends, he had to stay with them, he had to eat with them, and he had to make good fellowship with them. Jesus intentionally moved with sinners and he ate with them so that he will save people from their sins. He also instructed his disciples in the same manner when he was about to go from the earth into heaven, and he was telling, likewise my disciples, 12 disciples, go into the whole world, meet all the people, preach the good news that I preached to you, and go to the sinners and present the gospel to them, make friends with them, and you make them as my disciples. I don't want the sinners to be my disciples. That is Jerome Christopher. But Jesus would say, I don't mind. I don't mind. Matthew, a tax collector, was my disciple. I don't mind the sinners becoming my disciples. Amazing principles from Jesus' life. Just observing Jesus, he always interacted with sinners. What are the learnings from Jesus from this particular point? You know, we are also like Pharisees today, that we don't want to interact with sinners. We don't want to go to their weddings. We don't want to associate with them. They smell bad, they behave bad. Those are the reasons even we, like Pharisees, give. But Jesus is changing the scenario today. Friends, you and me ought to go and meet sinners. We have to stay with them. We have to build relationship with them. Only then we can actually help Jesus' mission, a savior coming into the world to save sins. So only when we associate with them, present the gospel, they too can accept Jesus Christ as their savior. We cannot ignore and run from sinners. We, like Jesus, had to be with them, presenting the gospel of Jesus Christ. Second thing, learning from Jesus. God bless you, and associate with sinners so that you can present the gospel. God bless you once again.